My friends, when someone hurts you deeply, your first instinct might be to seek revenge. You might feel that justice demands retribution, that the wrongdoer must pay for their actions. But let me tell you something powerful: you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the creator of your own reality. When someone wrongs you, it is a reflection of their own inner world, their own mental state. They are expressing their inner turmoil, their own limitations, and their misunderstandings. Their actions are not a reflection of who you are, but of what they believe themselves to be. When someone hurts you deeply, the first thing that often comes to mind is the desire for revenge. You want to make them feel the pain they've caused you, to make them understand the hurt they've inflicted. It's a natural human reaction driven by the sense that justice must be served. After all, they've wronged you, and it feels only fair that they should suffer in return. But there's something far more profound and liberating than seeking revenge, and that is recognizing that you have the power to transform your reality, not by getting even, but by shifting your own mindset. In moments of hurt and betrayal, it's easy to feel like a victim. It feels as though the pain someone has caused is something outside of your control, something imposed upon you. But what if I told you that the hurt they've caused you is not truly about you? What if it's a reflection of their inner world, their own struggles, limitations, and misunderstandings? The way others treat you, the actions they take, is often a projection of their own emotional state and beliefs. They may lash out because of their own unresolved pain, not because you deserve to be hurt. In truth, their actions are more a reflection of who they believe themselves to be than who you are. The concept of being a victim is rooted in the belief that external circumstances dictate how we feel. But if we truly understood the power of our inner world, we would recognize that no external action, no matter how painful, has the power to define us. You are not the product of someone else's actions. You are the creator of your own experience. The way you respond to a situation, the way you choose to perceive it, is what shapes your reality. When someone wrongs you, it's important to remember that you have a choice in how to respond. The natural impulse is often to strike back, to make them feel the way you feel. But this only perpetuates the cycle of pain and negativity. Seeking revenge doesn't heal you, it only keeps you tethered to the pain. You can choose to break that cycle. Instead of letting their actions continue to control your emotional state, choose to take back your power by consciously shifting your focus. This is where the power of your imagination comes in. Your imagination is your greatest tool for transformation. When you experience pain or betrayal, you can choose to use your imagination not to relive the hurt, but to envision something different. You can close your eyes and imagine that person not as someone who has wronged you, but as someone who is free from their own pain, someone who is living a life of love, peace, and harmony. Visualize them in a state of joy, just as you would wish for yourself. This might seem counterintuitive at first. Why would you want to see someone who has hurt you in a positive light? Isn't that just letting them off the hook? But remember, this isn't about them. This is about you. The act of imagining them in a state of peace doesn't excuse their actions, it frees you. It allows you to release the grip that resentment, anger, and pain have on you. You stop being bound to their behavior and you take back control of your emotional state. When you choose to use your imagination in this way, you are not condoning what they did, nor are you letting them off the hook. You are simply choosing to step out of the victim role and into a place of healing. Your mental imagery creates your emotional reality, and by focusing on healing, you are allowing yourself to move past the hurt and to begin the process of inner transformation. It's also important to understand that forgiveness is not about the other person, it's about you. Forgiveness does not mean that you forget the wrong done to you, or that you allow the person to continue mistreating you. It means that you release the emotional burden that has been holding you back. Forgiveness is a tool for self-liberation. When you forgive, you free yourself from the negative emotions that tie you to the past. You stop carrying the weight of resentment, anger, and hurt, and in doing so, you elevate your energy and your life. This doesn't mean that the hurt disappears instantly, or that you will never feel the pain of betrayal again. But it does mean that you are no longer controlled by it. You are no longer giving the other person the power to dictate your emotional state. The key to healing lies within you, and it starts with recognizing that you are the creator of your own reality. The thoughts and feelings you hold in your mind shape your world. When you choose to see beyond the pain and imagine a better reality, one of peace, compassion, and love, you open the door to healing, both for yourself and for the person who has wronged you. Ultimately, your imagination is your power. It is not the actions of others that define your life, it is how you choose to respond to them. By choosing forgiveness, by using your imagination to bless the person who hurt you, you not only free them, but also liberate yourself from the chains of negativity. This is how you rise above the pain, how you transcend the circumstances, and how you transform your reality into one of peace and empowerment. When we talk about the creation of reality, we are acknowledging one of the most profound truths that governs our lives. The reality we experience is not determined solely by the external world, but by the thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions we hold in our minds. Everything that exists around you, every situation, every encounter, is an expression of the thoughts you've been thinking, consciously or unconsciously. This is the law of creation, a law that governs our inner world and shapes our outer experiences. By understanding this, you begin to realize that you are not a victim of external circumstances. Rather, you are the creator of your own reality. If someone hurts you, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing that the pain they've caused is something separate from you, something that is outside of your control. But if you understand the law of creation, you realize that the pain you feel in response to their actions is a reflection of the thoughts and assumptions you hold within yourself. You see, the world outside of you is only a mirror of the world inside of you. When you feel hurt by someone, it's often because your assumptions about yourself, your worth, or the nature of the relationship have been challenged. Perhaps you assume that people you trust will always treat you with kindness, or that your relationship with them will always be harmonious. When that assumption is shattered, it causes pain because it clashes with the beliefs you have held about the world. But as Neville Goddard often teaches, your assumptions are not set in stone. They are not permanent fixtures of your reality, they are malleable and can be changed. If someone hurts you, the situation is not fixed, nor is your reaction to it. What you choose to assume about the situation will shape your experience moving forward. You have the ability to assume a new reality. You can decide in the face of betrayal or hurt that this is not the defining moment of your life. Instead of allowing the negative experience to dictate your emotional state, you can use this moment to redefine your assumptions and, in doing so, transform the situation. You might be wondering, but how can I change the reality of something that has already happened? How can I rewrite the past? The answer is that you don't need to change the past itself. You simply need to change the meaning you assign to it. The past is over. And while we cannot change what has already occurred, we have complete control over how we perceive it and what we choose to believe about it. If someone hurts you, you can choose to see the experience differently. You can choose to let go of the assumption that this person's actions define you, that they have power over your happiness, or that their wrongdoings should shape your future. By doing so, you create a new reality, one where you are free from the negative emotions that once bound you. The process of creation is not always instantaneous, and it may take time for your new assumptions to manifest in the outer world. But by consistently holding a new belief, one that is more aligned with the person you wish to become, you will begin to see the evidence of this change in your life. Your beliefs, when persistently held, create the circumstances of your life. This is not a passive process, it is an active one. You must choose every day to hold on to the assumption that things are already improving, that forgiveness and healing are taking place within you, and that you are no longer defined by the actions of others. As you continue to do so, you will begin to see a shift in your external world. People will begin to respond to you differently, situations will improve, and the emotional weight of the past will begin to lift. It's also important to understand that your assumptions are not just thoughts, they are deeply ingrained beliefs that shape how you see yourself and the world around you. To truly change your reality, you must first change the assumptions you hold about yourself. If you hold the assumption that you are worthy of love, respect, and kindness, you will attract these qualities into your life. If you hold the belief that you are a victim of others' actions, then you will continue to experience situations where you are hurt or betrayed. The key is to consciously choose what you believe, not just about others, but about your own value and worth. When someone hurts you, it's an opportunity to reassess and redefine the assumptions you hold about yourself. Instead of seeing yourself as a victim, you can assume that you are resilient, that you are capable of healing, and that you have the power to create a better reality for yourself. By assuming this, you start to believe it. And as your beliefs shift, so too will the circumstances of your life. You begin to create a reality where you are no longer bound by the actions of others, where you are free to live in peace, regardless of external circumstances. The creation of reality is an ongoing process, one that requires vigilance and consistency. But once you understand that you are the master of your own experiences, you begin to see just how powerful your thoughts and assumptions truly are. Your reality is not dictated by the actions of others. It is created by the beliefs and assumptions you hold within yourself. When you change those beliefs, you change your world. Vivid mental imagery is one of the most powerful tools we have at our disposal for transforming our reality. It's not just about visualizing something abstract or daydreaming about a desired outcome. It is about creating an emotional connection with an image, feeling the reality of that image in heart and mind, and using that connection to influence your life in meaningful ways. When you visualize, you are essentially planting seeds of intention that, with time and focus, can manifest into your outer world. This practice is not limited to achieving specific goals or dreams. It can also be used to heal, forgive, and shift your emotional state. When someone hurts you, your immediate emotional reaction may be intense. Pain, anger, betrayal, or sadness can easily overwhelm your thoughts. These feelings are perfectly natural, but it is essential to recognize that your emotional state doesn't have to be permanent. What you feel in the present moment does not define your entire experience. Just as you have the power to create new beliefs about yourself, you have the power to change your emotional state through vivid mental imagery. Rather than continuing to replay the hurtful situation in your mind, choose to reimagine it. Instead of focusing on the pain, direct your mental energy toward healing and forgiveness. Imagine the person who has wronged you in a different light. Visualize them not as someone who has hurt you, but as someone who is healed, at peace, and living a life of happiness. Picture them free from the negativity and confusion that led them to hurt you in the first place. See them as whole, full of love, and successful in all aspects of their life. This type of mental imagery does not mean you are excusing their actions or letting them off the hook. Rather, you are choosing to free yourself from the emotional burden that resentment and anger create. By imagining the person who hurt you in a state of peace, you are letting go of the hold that negative emotions have over you. Forgiveness through the power of mental imagery becomes a tool of liberation. It liberates you from the past, from the attachment to the pain they caused, and it allows you to step into a space where you can heal. It's important to remember that vivid mental imagery is not about being passive or pretending that nothing happened. It's about shifting your focus from the pain to the healing. When you take the time to visualize peace, forgiveness, and resolution, you are telling your subconscious mind that you are no longer bound by the past. You are consciously choosing to release the emotions that tie you to the person who hurt you. This is a powerful act of self love and self care. To effectively use vivid mental imagery for healing, you must immerse yourself in the experience as though it is already happening. Imagine the person you are forgiving in vivid detail. What do they look like? What are they doing? And how do they feel? You see them as whole, content, and at peace. As you do this, you begin to reprogram your mind. You replace the old narrative of pain and resentment with a new one where peace and forgiveness are the prevailing emotions. This shift in your mental imagery will eventually lead to a shift in your emotions and ultimately in your reality. When you use mental imagery to forgive, you are not only forgiving the other person, you are also healing yourself. The act of forgiveness through visualization creates a deep emotional release that allows you to let go of any negative energy that you've been holding on to. By focusing on the emotional resolution in your mind, you create space within yourself for love, joy, and peace to flow. The more you practice this, the more natural it will become, and the less power that hurtful situation will have over you. This vivid mental imagery practice is an ongoing process. You may need to return to it several times, especially if the pain from the hurt is deeply ingrained. However, the more you focus on healing and forgiveness, the stronger the emotional shift will become. You are training your mind to focus on what you want, not on what you fear or resent. The more you visualize peace and healing, the more you will begin to feel it in your life. It's like planting seeds in a garden at first. You may not see much happening, but with consistent care, you will see the results of your efforts as the weeds of resentment are replaced with flowers of forgiveness and peace. Remember, you are the creator of your own experience. Through the power of vivid mental imagery, you can choose to release the past and create a new emotional reality for yourself. This practice allows you to stop being defined by what others have done to you and start living from a place of emotional freedom and strength. Your inner world is the key to transforming your outer world, and vivid mental imagery is one of the most effective ways to unlock that transformation. The law of assumption is one of the most profound and powerful principles of creation. It is based on the idea that what you assume to be true will ultimately manifest in your reality. It's not just about wishful thinking or hoping for things to change. It's about deeply believing that the desired outcome is already yours, regardless of the external circumstances. This law teaches that your assumptions shape your world. Whatever you believe to be true about yourself, others, and your life will be reflected back to you in your experiences. When someone hurts you, your initial reaction may be to assume the worst, that the person is intentionally malicious, that you are a victim of their actions, and that this hurtful situation will define your relationship with them moving forward. But this is where the power of the law of assumption can change everything. Instead of assuming that you are stuck in a cycle of hurt and betrayal, you can choose to assume that healing is already in progress, that forgiveness is already taking place, and that you are capable of moving beyond the hurt. What you assume about a situation has the power to either keep you trapped in negative emotions or to set you free. If you continue to assume that the hurt will have lasting effects, that the relationship is permanently damaged, and that you are a victim, you will continue to experience those realities. The more you focus on these negative assumptions, the more they become embedded in your life. The universe or the world around you responds to your inner assumptions. giving you experiences that mirror the beliefs you hold about yourself and your life. On the other hand, if you consciously choose to assume a different outcome, one of peace, healing, and resolution, you begin to shift the energy around the situation. By assuming that you are capable of healing, that forgiveness is possible, and that the situation will ultimately work out for the best, you begin to align yourself with those truths. Even if the external circumstances haven't changed yet, your assumption acts as a powerful force in shaping your reality. The beauty of the law of assumption is that it requires no external validation. It's not about waiting for the other person to change, apologize, or make amends. It's about understanding that you are the creator of your experience, and that by shifting your internal assumptions, you can change the course of your life. You don't need the actions of others to change in order for you to feel better. You only need to shift your assumptions, and by doing so, you can begin to see the world around you transform. Assuming a new reality doesn't mean that you ignore the pain or pretend that nothing happened. Rather, it means that you choose to see things from a different perspective, instead of holding on to the belief that the hurt defines your relationship with that person. You assume that they are also capable of healing, and that the situation will ultimately bring about a positive outcome. This shift in assumption liberates you from the cycle of victimhood and places you in the position of power and agency. You are no longer at the mercy of the other person's actions. You are the creator of your emotional state and your experiences. When you assume that the best possible outcome is already unfolding, you start to experience shifts in your own emotional state. You begin to feel lighter, more at peace, and more empowered. Your assumption of peace and healing begins to permeate your thoughts. And in turn, those thoughts begin to shape your reality. What you assume to be true about the future begins to materialize in the present. Your assumption doesn't just affect your mental and emotional state, it also affects your external circumstances. People may begin to treat you differently, or the person who hurt you may shift their behavior in ways that reflect the new assumption you've held. It's important to remember that the law of assumption is not about blindly ignoring reality or pretending that hurt doesn't exist. It's about choosing to create a new reality in which healing, growth, and peace are the dominant forces. When you assume that healing is possible, that forgiveness is achievable, and that you are worthy of peace, you begin to attract those very experiences into your life. It's about seeing beyond the surface, beyond the immediate pain, and focusing on the potential for resolution and transformation. To apply the law of assumption in your life, you must consistently choose to assume the best, even when circumstances seem to contradict that assumption. Your mind may initially resist, trying to hold on to the old story of hurt and betrayal, but the more you choose to assume that healing is already in progress, the more you will see evidence of that healing in your life. Your assumptions create the foundation of your reality, and by choosing to assume the best, you lay the groundwork for a future where peace and resolution reign. The power of the law of assumption lies in its simplicity. It's not about complicated rituals or complex steps. It's about believing that what you assume to be true will inevitably come to pass. When you assume that your pain will be healed, that forgiveness is taking place, and that peace is already yours, you align yourself with those outcomes. By consistently holding this assumption, you start to see a reality where those assumptions manifest before your eyes. The law of assumption reminds you that you are not a passive observer of your life, you are the creator of it. What you believe, what you assume, will come to fruition. Forgiveness is often misunderstood. Many people think of it as a gift they give to someone else, an act of letting the other person off the hook for the pain they caused. But in truth, forgiveness is not about the other person at all. It is an act of self liberation. When you forgive, you release yourself from the grip of resentment, anger, and hurt. Forgiveness is not about excusing the wrong that was done, but about freeing yourself from the negative emotions that hold you hostage. When someone hurts you, it's easy to hold on to the pain, to nurture it, and to let it fester within you. We sometimes feel that if we hold on to our anger, it somehow balances the scales, that by clinging to our hurt, we are somehow punishing the person who wronged us. But in reality, it's the opposite. Holding on to that anger only harms you. It keeps you stuck in the past, continuously reliving the moment of betrayal, and prevents you from moving forward with your life. The person who hurt you may have moved on, but you remain trapped in your own negative emotions. Forgiveness is your key to freedom. When you forgive, you release yourself from the cycle of pain. You stop allowing the actions of others to dictate how you feel. It's a powerful choice to let go of the emotional burden that comes with holding on to resentment. Forgiveness allows you to stop being emotionally entangled with someone who hurt you. It does not mean that you forget what happened or that you condone what they did. It simply means that you no longer allow their actions to control your emotional state. By choosing to forgive, you break the emotional ties that bind you to the past. One of the most liberating aspects of forgiveness is that it empowers you. Forgiveness is an act of reclaiming your power. When you forgive, you take back control of your life and your emotions. You are no longer a victim of what someone else did to you. Instead, you choose to rise above the hurt and create a new reality for yourself, one that is free from the chains of past pain. By forgiving, you elevate your energy, allowing more positive experiences to enter your life. You create space for love, peace, and joy to flow in. It's important to understand that forgiveness is not a one time event, it's an ongoing process, especially when the pain runs deep. But the more you practice forgiveness, the easier it becomes. In the beginning, it may feel like an insurmountable task to forgive someone who has hurt you deeply. But with time, as you continue to focus on letting go of resentment, forgiveness becomes more natural. Forgiveness is a practice, a decision you make over and over again until it becomes a part of who you are.